Welcome to the Reality Revolution, guys. Before I show you this interview, I just wanted to give you just a heads up. This is Ramona Galey, who is channeling a spirit she refers to as ōPRA. I'm not advocating that this is legitimate or not. It's still incredibly fascinating. I love Abraham, and I'm very fascinated by any channeled entity. Sometimes the stuff they say is so powerful, it really doesn't matter if you believe it or not. But I will let you decide. I tried to ask some interesting questions and get some background on how she started doing this, and I will let you decide what you think. This is Ramona Galey, and we speak to the entity called ōPRA, and you'll have to check it out. Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm so excited today. I have Ramona Galey, and Ramona channels an entity called ōPRA, and it's very, very interesting. So I wanted to get a chance to talk to Ramona and how she started channeling, and get a chance to talk to ōPRA itself. So welcome to the Reality Revolution, Ramona. It's so nice to meet you.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here. I'm looking forward to it.
So, I've got a chance to watch some of your interviews and saw some stuff, a couple videos on YouTube, but I do not know a lot about your particular situation. There may be many listeners to the Reality Revolution that are in the same boat. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and as much information so we can fill in some of the gaps.
Okay. Well, my spiritual journey started about 5 years ago. Up until then, I really had no spiritual paradigm or background. And I started following Abraham Hicks immediately following the death of my partner after 23 years. And that experience just really, I was just ready for the message. I was actually considering killing myself. And I was actually composing the note when her friend Lordella called, and I was crying, and I was in a very dark space, and she started telling me about Abraham Hicks. And she said, "You have to change the way you're thinking." And I said, "Well, I just really don't know how." And so she gave me the names of 2 books, and I went and checked them out from the library and just immersed myself in their message, and had just tremendous respect for and resonance with everything that Abraham and Esther Hicks were saying, and it just really resonated. It just changed my entire life. And I remember them saying fairly early on that Abraham says everybody can do what Esther is doing. And the reason that she does it so well is because she had no strong feelings, no strong opinions. She was living life happily ever after and all this. And I remember thinking, well, that's not me, because I have a ton of very strong opinions. And so it never even occurred to me, really, that I would be able to do it. And then in April of this year, I was at a Abraham Hicks workshop in Asheville with a friend. We got there a couple days early, and we were hiking through the mountains there. It's so beautiful. And she started telling me about some experiences that she'd had, and it just really clicked for me just all of a sudden. By the end of the day, I was saying, yep, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. I'm going to do that. Wow. And then I ended up, it's a kind of a series of synchronicities, you'd call it, and some good friends convinced me to do it for them, even though I didn't even know how to, and it just took off. I mean, it's just been like falling off a log, the proverbial log, and my eyes were closed for a long time, and then they opened just a month or so ago, and I've been working with a lot of clients one-on-one. We've done some group gallery sessions. Kevin Young is an intuitive coach for intuitives, and he helped me tremendously with all the infrastructure and the business ideas and whatnot. And I very quickly identified that I'd like to do this, to help people, to get the word out as much as possible. And so here I am.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So I had saw that you've been to a bunch of, I've got a chance to watch Abraham once in Long Beach, and it was a wonderful experience.
Yes.
And I've always loved Abraham because of the sheer raw innocence and simplicity of her message.
Yes.
A lot of teachers and gurus, that it can come out a little bit complicated, but Abraham always goes to the core. There's an essential simplicity to it that is very powerful. And so You've been on several of the cruises, I guess. That she had those wonderful cruises, like 4 cruises. Is that right?
7 cruises I've been
7.
on
Oh
so
my
far.
gosh.
And I'm signed up for one next year, and I'm pretty
Oh,
sure I got to do the fall one also. So that'll be 9. Not that I'm looking for notches on my belt.
No, that is on my list. That's on my list for sure. I gotta go. Yeah,
love it. You've got to go.
Which one is the best? There's one that's in Europe, right? And then she has another one that's
well, the fall one, the summer one is usually Alaska, which I've done twice now.
Right? Okay.
But this year it's going to be the Baltic.
The Baltic.
It's going to be from Amsterdam to St. Petersburg, Russia, and back.
Oh,
I can't
wow.
wait for that. And then the fall one is going to be Australia again, which they've done twice, and it'll be Australia to New Zealand, which I've not. Did one of their Australian ones, but it was the one that included Fiji. And this year, next year, I'll be able to do the one to New Zealand, which I'm very excited about. So every single one of them have been my absolute favorite. So
channeling is an unusual thing. It's gone through the history of mankind. Parts of the Bible are channeled. People may have channeled. Many of the great classic books may have been channeled. Channeling is this unusual, complicated, mysterious thing. So I want to talk to you a little bit about it. There's going to be people that are going to watch this that are going to be like, oh, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous and evil entity can enter you. That could be a demon. We don't know. You know, if you're from the South, I saw that you live in the South. You know some of the arguments that people are going to hear if they're just casually going on YouTube and they catch this interview. They're going to make the arguments, even having not known you, that this is it's dangerous, that it's evil, that these are evil entities, that you don't know what you're interacting with. So let's talk to those people first when it comes to channeling, and let's explain that. Are these demons? Are these angels? What kind of entities is it dangerous when you channel an entity like this?
Well, if you talk to 100 people, you'd probably get 100 different definitions and 100 different opinions. And my personal opinion is in lockstep with Abraham's and Oprah's, the entity that I receive. And, we call it channeling because everybody else calls it channeling, but I'm kind of, again, in agreement with Abraham. It's really just receiving. I believe we're actually all channeling. When I look back over the course of my life, I can see times when I was receiving good information that had me in alignment, or I was already in alignment and it gave me guidance, pure love that has absolutely informed my life over the years, whether I knew it or not. And I'll use an analogy from Abraham. There is no source of darkness. There is only sources of light. And you can block the light to create darkness, but there's no source of darkness. And I thoroughly 100% believe that. I know this to be true. I know that what I am receiving is pure love. You said something about it being kind of complicated. It's not complicated in the least for me.
Okay.
I get myself, my human levels of resistance out of the way as close to 100% as I possibly can every single time I receive. And what comes through is pure love. And I've never heard Oprah say or think to me anything other than pure love. They've healed so many resistance issues from the past for me as I'm receiving for others. They've healed many people that I've worked with directly. And there's just nothing to be afraid of. There's thoroughly, absolutely, 100%, I promise, nothing to be afraid of.
But you understand what I'm talking about. There's always going to... Okay.
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about the first time that you channeled and you knew that something was different, that something significant had happened, that you had been in contact. That first moment, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, like I said, I decided I was going to do it at that weekend of that workshop. And the same weekend, my good friends Bob and Flora were there for the same workshop. They lived on the other side of Asheville from me. And a tornado hit their property. And I just happened to have a chainsaw in my possession that didn't even belong to me. In fact, it's kind of a crazy reason why I even had the chainsaw. And so we put together a chainsaw party. and went down the next weekend to help clear their property, which had just miraculously missed their house, but was all within inches on like 3 different sides of their house, big, huge 100-foot trees. And so I went to help them clear that out. And as we were talking over the course of that weekend, visiting and getting to know each other even better and bonding and just having beautiful time together, I told them what had happened and that I had this intention. And they were long-term Abraham Hicks followers. I had met them, on the cruises. And so Flora just said, well, okay, will you channel for us? And I said, okay, sure. And we kept working. Okay, will you channel for us? Okay, sure. Well, how about right now? And I was just like, right now? Yeah. So I just tried it. I just took it on faith. And so much of what I've learned is so much just relies on just suspending disbelief for just a moment. Take a chance and just step into whatever it is that you want as if it's already yours and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen is you might be a little disappointed. And so that's what I did. And I had enough, even though I knew nothing about what I was doing, I had enough positive confirmation from that first time that I contacted friends that I knew would not be have any problem with it. Mm-hmm. And I asked if I could receive for them because there was a knowing. And we just did it. And the more I did it, the better we got at it. And the more I liked it, the less draining it was, the more in alignment it was, the more I saw people really being helped. And I just feel like at this point, I really want to share it with the world because I really believe we can all do this. And the more we do this, the more the loving place the world will appear. I mean, I already believe the world is just 100% loving place. But I understand that a lot of people don't realize that. They don't see it. They don't have the message. They're living the way I lived before Abraham, which is stressed and afraid. And there's no reason for us to be stressed or afraid. And so I'd like to share that with people.
Right. I'm kind of a historian with Abraham. It's super fascinating going back and reading all the Seth books, because Esther was very interested in Seth and Jane, and she'd taken those early seminars. And she explains how she first started to interact with Abraham, how she would get on the typewriter and have messages come in and type it out. There was a certain process that she went through when she started channeling. I've myself tried to do this same process, and I've had things come through, but I ultimately questioned if it was me or not, and I could not figure out a way to differentiate if it was me or not. And so I have stuff that I've written, I've said, I think that's probably just a part of me. How do you know that it's not a part of you and that it's something separate? Do you understand my question?
I do, and it's such a lovely answer. Get someone else to summon for you.
Okay.
Because it's very difficult without a lot of practice to go back and forth between summoning and answering.
In your own moment.
And by summoning, I just mean asking. Yeah.
Right.
Because as they describe it, it's like 2 different radio stations. And I always understood that when they said that intellectually. I've been listening to them, immersed in them for 5 years.
Right.
But until you actually do it, you maybe don't have a complete, physical, palpable understanding of what that means. Right. I've tried calling up Oprah. I mean, I call up Oprah, and I've tried just sitting there and just seeing if we can have a conversation. They just sit there. I can't even call it waiting because they're not waiting for anything. They are just there, and they have no sense of time. They will sit there until I get bored and say, okay, enough of that.
I'm sure you wondered that too. Like if I was Esther Hicks, I would be sitting around talking to Abraham all the time, right? I mean, if I was, so you wonder about the communication aspect. And so have you had a moment when you couldn't call up Oprah?
No, I've never had a moment like that. I have actually had a few moments where just recently, just within the last, I'd say 3 weeks, where I actually started speaking. I actually just started saying things out loud. I was alone, nobody there to think I was crazy. And I realized that I was talking through something, and it was actually Oprah speaking. And I neglected to record it, of course, because they told me all kinds of really cool stuff. But I recognized their energy, and I recognized their message as being completely related to something that I was chewing on at the time. And And I think eventually I will be able to have complete conversations with Oprah the way Esther does with Abraham. I mean, they tell the story about her going down to the driver's license place and she couldn't read the chart. And, so she asked Abraham to help and then she could read the chart. So she obviously has a very well-developed, well-honed relationship with Abraham. And she is my absolute role model. She's my idol. She's my hero. She and Abraham saved my life. And I just love them. And so to some extent, Abraham and Esther have been role models for me, but on the same path, I understand that I'm different and I'm allowing the path to develop. And this has been developing in some ways very linearly, but some ways very nonlinear. And I love just following it and seeing where it's going and understanding that all of us are meant to supersede Abraham eventually, simply because the universe is continuing to expand. So we're all here for our own path. And it's so beautiful. And I've been so lucky to have a role model like them to pattern my early efforts on, and to also be very well informed from Oprah that this is my own path and we're going unknown places. So it's very exciting.
Now, people are going to ask where the name Oprah came up, and I just wanted to give you a moment so you can answer that, because it is important, because people are going to say Oprah sounds too much like Oprah, and it's almost like they chose that on purpose, so go ahead.
Yeah, well, is this a little bit on purpose? It wasn't my on purpose, but it was on purpose. And Abraham, and I remember this clip very clearly. Somebody's in the hot seat and they're trying to tell them to talk to Abraham, and explaining something, and they say, I heard this was on Oprah the other night. Oh, do you know Oprah? And Abraham says, yes, it's where we get all of our information. Just completely joking. So first time when I read for Bob and Flora, one of the first questions they asked was, what's your name? How do you want us to address you? And I heard very clearly Oprah, and I refused to say it. I just wasn't going to have people saying that I was, channeling Oprah. I mean, I couldn't do it. So, and the human, the host, or whatever you want to call the person who's receiving on behalf of somebody else, plays a huge part in what is actually coming out. Because if I'm in resistance, I cannot deliver their message. And so I have to get really, really 100% completely out of the way for it to work. For it to work the way I want it to work.
Right.
For it to work in a pure, honest way. So, but at that time, that was my very first time, and I just refused to say it. All I could say was, oh. I kept waiting for it to turn into a different word. And over the course of the next, month or so, with Kevin's help, we kept going back to Oprah, and the next time I asked for their name, I got Oprah, and then finally I got Oprah, but I refused. I just had such high resistance. So they said, you can spell it any way you want. So we came up with this funky spelling, and I still had a lot of resistance to it. And finally they explained the joke. They reminded us of that clip, which I wasn't thinking of at all, of course. And they said, it's a joke. We're not laughing at you. It's a joke, because Abraham said, that's where we get all our information. We are Oprah. And they give this very kind of just purely in jest suggestion that where my guides are where Esther's guides get all of their information from. It's just a silly joke.
But it's a good sign that they have a sense of humor.
They have a wonderful sense of humor. Yeah, I didn't know that at first, but it was after that name got established and I dropped all my resistance to it. Before that, I just couldn't even hardly tell people. I'd say, yeah, okay, so the entity's name is Oprah, and then I'd say, okay, so we're going to start now.
Right.
So, but now I don't have any problem with it. I've been told by a couple of internet marketers that I should probably drop the little line over the small o that begins the word, because it confuses the search engines. And, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know what'll happen, and it doesn't really matter. It's not
important.
It's not important. It's completely meaningless. Other than the humor. The humor is valuable, but nothing else about it is valuable.
So I don't want to repeat a lot of questions that they've been asked. Have you asked them if they're from the earth? Have you asked them about where they're from? Have you asked them?
I have not asked them any of those questions, but I have been asked questions like that by clients, and I'll let them answer those types of questions. Yeah,
because that's the kind of stuff I've always wanted to ask
Okay.
Abraham. So I'll ask those questions too. And so you do offer one-on-one chances for people to come and talk to Oprah, and
Yep.
they can. And the website where they would get a hold of you is RamonaGaley.com?
RamonaGaley.com. Scroll down through. Right now, there's a lot of pictures and a lot of stories and things on there. It's just one long page. Scroll down, and you can sign up for a half-hour session, a 1-hour session, or 3 different packages. Most of my long-term clients now are on the package deals. But if you just want a little taste, sign up for a half hour and just try it out.
Awesome. Now, how long does it take for you to begin your channel?
Anywhere between maybe 5 seconds and 20 seconds. I don't know. I've never timed it.
Okay. All right. So whenever you feel comfortable, we'll give it a shot and we'll talk to Oprah. We can continue talking, but we can give this a shot now whenever you're ready.
All right. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Greetings.
Greetings. It is a pleasure to meet you, Oprah.
Yes.
I have so many questions that I would love to ask you. So it's my understanding that you're a social memory complex. You're made up of multiple previous consciousnesses that have joined together. Is that correct?
Multiple implies separation.
Okay.
There is
At one time they were separate, but now that they are together within the guise of Oprah.
They may have appeared separate to humans. None of us are ever separate.
Understand.
No human stream of energy is ever as separate as it feels, as it seems.
Right. So we're all not separate, but at one point, a lot of the energy that it makes up you was separated into different consciousnesses. Can you explain where you're from?
We call ourselves we. We refer to ourselves as we, because there really is no separation. But we will clarify, Ramona has apparently never experienced us as a we.
Okay.
She has no sense of a larger crowd or a smaller crowd appearing or coming and going the way a we would. She has no sense of separation of who is speaking. She hears one solid voice.
Okay. From many readings that I've had about the evolution of the universe, it's very fascinating that planets, entire solar systems come together much like you do. So this is a phenomenon in the universe that I'm fascinated by. More and more groups of people join together in love within certain intentions. Do you have an intention for your place here on Earth and what you're trying to accomplish?
The intention is always love. The reality is always love.
Okay. Is your energies originally from this solar system where we're at? Are you from another planet?
All comes from thought. Thought creates all.
Okay. I would love to talk with somebody of your caliber before we start to talk about the law of attraction stuff, about the universe itself. With such great knowledge, is it possible to interact with consciousness of planets or suns? Do those have living consciousness like humans? Does my question make sense, Oprah?
Yes, we understand the question. The planets do have a consciousness. To interact with them, you would need to achieve their vibration.
Okay.
Their vibration is quite different from yours, from any humans. It is not impossible. It is not common.
From your knowledge of the infinite possibilities of the universe, is it possible to go faster than the speed of light?
Yes.
Wonderful. Is it possible for a human or a physical being similar to humans going faster than the speed of light?
The speed of thought is much faster than the speed of light.
Okay. Wonderful.
If you believe that you can travel at the speed of thought, you can travel at the speed of thought.
Wow. That's a pretty cool idea. Having such an incredible existence and access to information, have you had access or spoken with other entities or know of other species outside of the species that we are commonly aware of on Earth, of aliens in this universe? Aliens to me, I mean, and that word has a certain significance to it, but I mean just other living conscious beings outside of the species of human that I am in this universe. Are you aware of any that you could tell us about?
We are aware, yes. The question is, are they currently in your time frame, and would you recognize them as life?
Yes, that is absolutely my question.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that you like to talk about, law of attraction, your message is very powerful. Something I'm exploring on this channel with content, so it perfectly syncs up, is the law of balance. As I can see with my eyes, when I look at a planet and the circular nature of the planet and the way that water always moves to balance and gravity, everything in nature, everything around me seems to move towards balance at all times. It's just the way that the energy signature is of the universe that I'm living in now. Is that move towards balance, that law of balance, more powerful than the law of attraction?
It is the same.
It is the same.
It is the same.
Okay.
You cannot have a push without a pull.
Okay.
And as soon as you pull, you get a push.
Exactly.
When you attract, it's just like the answer to the summons. You cannot have a summons without an answer. You cannot have an answer without a summons. It is the same.
Oftentimes I see people make mistakes when they desire something really, I want something so bad. They create an imbalance.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions on how we can maintain balance as we move towards our intentions?
Hold your desires lightly. Do not attach to them. It is the attachment that pushes the desire away.
Okay.
Do not need anything.
All right.
Do not grasp. Do not strive. Do not grip hardly. Hold your desires lightly. Allow them to come. They will come gladly as you desire them lightly with no resistance. They can come almost instantaneously.
I've had some success in playing around with the law of attraction for many small things and gradual things. Sometimes the bigger things, just by their nature, in the way that they induce balanced forces, are much more difficult. And in my current life right now, I really have an intention where I want to move from one big stream of income to another that is more aligned with what I want to do. So it's a big shift. It feels good and it feels aligned. I'm following my joy. But of all the changes I've made, it's a huge shift. Do you have any advice on how I undergo that path towards making a big shift in my stream of income?
Yes. Stop thinking of it as big.
Okay.
The resistance of big and the more resistance of huge.
All right.
Is what is stopping almost everything that you want, anything that you see about it that you perceive as not possible or taking a while or being complicated slows it down. If you simply become a match with no resistance to whatever it is you desire, it will come to you very quickly.
All right. Can you give us any advanced knowledge of our bodies that we may not be aware of, such as energy streams, foods that we should eat, anything in particular humans do on a regular basis that, with your knowledge of our anatomies and in this physical reality, that would help improve our ability to manifest and utilize things like the law of attraction to our benefit?
Yes. Cease all resistant thought. Your resistant thought causes interruption of the performance of each cell as you direct your thought out into the world. Your cells are impacted. The resistance impedes the cell's communication with source and the cell's ability to perform its job, which otherwise it so joyfully performs.
Okay.
Low vibration thoughts and feelings that come with them, holding on to anger, blame, guilt, grief, these very low vibrations are much more damaging to your body than the so-called vices and unhealthy food that you would otherwise try to avoid.
Okay. I love it. So can you tell us more about our humans' energy meridians or chakras? Are those important in our process of manifesting, or do we put too much importance on them?
In our opinion, you place way too much importance upon them.
Okay.
However, any tool that you choose and you thoroughly believe in and you understand and you are using as a way of understanding your own energy alignment, whether it is a chart on the wall or a stethoscope or a surgical scalpel or a visualization of chakras or any of these tools can be used to help your focus, to achieve the focus you desire. When you set your intention on a desire of alignment, any tool can be used to help achieve the focus. Just do not become dependent upon the tool. Use the tool as any tool. Sometimes it's a hammer, sometimes it's a screwdriver, depending on what you're doing. But you don't walk all day around with a hammer just in case. Do not become dependent upon the tool.
Okay. So there are a lot of people in the community of reality creation and law of attraction have different interpretations of how it works. Are we moving through parallel realities, or do parallel realities exist of multiple versions of ourselves at the same time?
At the same time, implies that time is an immutable fact of nature. Time is a fluid human perception. There are multiple potentials at any moment. If you are in alignment and you have very little resistance and you believe something, you can be it within an instant. Anything. There are infinite potential possibilities at all times. But to say that something exists one within the other at the same time is to imply that there is a restriction on the time part, and there is not.
Okay. So all of time exists in one big block. The future and the past exists in one place?
One fluid stream, no blocks.
Okay. Can we access future potentials?
You can become anything you believe you can become in an instant.
Right. But can we access the information from that future potential without becoming it? For instance,
No.
Maybe we can't.
You must become it.
That's the only way to access the information.
Anytime you learn anything, you become it.
Okay.
You vibrate with it. You match to it. It goes back to your earlier question, law of attraction versus balance. It is always in balance.
For instance, maybe I sit here and I have a version of me that has a beautiful yacht that's wonderful and fantastic, and another version of me that has a wonderful countryside manor in France. And both sound pretty wonderful. Is there a way for me to access the information of that potential of the yacht while I go and enjoy this one? Can I see what possible, maybe there's possible potential futures that I'm not aware of that are way more fun than anything that I can imagine? How can I access, is there some incredible future timeline that's beyond my own ability to visualize and comprehend that I can access? Is my question resonating or making sense to you?
Yes,
Oftentimes I'm limiting myself by what I visualize. Maybe there's something even better beyond what I can visualize.
Actually, you are limiting yourself by trying to leapfrog over the delightful vision you have now. Anything you can imagine now is step one. Anything that comes after that would be step two. Do not ever attempt to step into step two. Always step into step one.
Okay.
When you step into step one, then the next path, the next step on your path then becomes available, only that is now step one. And as you step into that, the next step becomes available, and that is step one. Do not ever focus on step two.
Okay.
Or this will slow down your step one.
All right. But sometimes as I go through the process of manifesting, I can get really good at visualizing. I can imagine a really clear, beautiful place that I want to go or experience that I want to have. But my question is, there's always that question, there may be some incredible experiences that are outside of my own awareness that I would never have visualized because I don't know anything about it. I could be riding a beautiful sports car somewhere and that possibility doesn't exist, so I wouldn't have visualized it or tried to move towards it. So is there a way for us to open up potentials that can happen serendipitously outside of our own manifestation, just along with it's a tough question to ask. Maybe it's
you are attempting to be ready before you are ready.
Right, maybe a little. I want to have the very best possible life that I could have of all the potential futures. And I might not know what that is. There might be some future for me that's beyond anything I could have ever imagined that I just fall into. Is that a possibility?
Yes.
Okay.
But you become a match to it. You do not have to visualize it, as you are saying, you can feel your way into it. As you raise your own vibration higher and higher, those things that you think you do not know what they are actually waiting for you, because some part of you does know what it is. The way to match it is to match it, and then it will match. You become it. It becomes you.
All right.
Feel your way there rather than the visualization. The visualization has been an excellent tool for you because you are allowing the feelings to follow the visualization. Feel your way there is much more powerful. Allow the visualization to support the feeling rather than the opposite.
For many people, feelings can seem rather generic. A feeling of gratitude can be the same for two completely different events. How do we make our feelings more specific so that we can... Is there anything that you recommend that would help us to practice creating feelings?
Talk about them. Let them rise. Let them spiral up as you savor a feeling and express it, and then supercharge it with your speech, supercharge it with your physical actions, supercharge it any way you can think to get it to spiral up higher and higher and higher. Do not put any limitations on this. As you achieve these higher vibrations, the knowledge that you are seeking about what it is that you actually want will actually appear. What is it that I want? A person in despair wants something completely different from a person who is already in ecstasy. Both need to allow their vibration to rise to match what it is that they actually want, whether they are aware of it or not.
How can we as a species of humans raise our vibration collectively?
The collective vibration is rising all the time because of the summoning of each individual. Each individual, past, present, future, in your time construct, is summoning an improvement of some sort. The depressed simply wish relief. The very happy want their next project. Every single being on the planet is summoning, and the answer is the rising of the collective.
Okay.
Each individual is responsible for their own vibration, matching whatever it is they are summoning. Some are successful sometimes, some are successful not times, some are not successful ever. That's up to each individual. But the collective summoning is raising the vibration and the expansion of the entire universe, of the collective, as you call it.
So one of the phenomenon that occurs with thought creation is that independent energy structures form when multiple people are thinking resonantly along the same thought structure. So if two people are thinking about something, energetically, it seems as if almost a living creature or entity becomes that feeds on energy starts to exist. And so if there's a group of 1,000 people that are thinking the same thoughts along the line, that structure seems to feed our energy. We see it everywhere in the media, these pendulums that occur where even if we resist them, we give it our energy. And these things tend to be influencing our vibration and our ability to manifest. Is there, as an entity such as yourself, is there ways that we can escape from these structures or use them to our benefit? Does my question make sense?
Yes, it does. You need to decline the illusion that anything outside yourself is affecting your vibration. This is the law of attraction acting upon you. It is very natural and normal. But if you wish to change your vibration, if you wish to control your own vibration, you must control your own vibration. As you notice an unwanted thought, an unwanted event in your environment, an unwanted feeling, as you notice anything unwanted, you must break away from the law of attraction and choose a better feeling thought. Choose a better feeling focus. As you do this, as you practice this, you will very quickly understand that nobody, nothing can impact your vibration unless you let it, unless you are a match to it. If you are vibrating very high and a very low vibration person or event occurs near you, you will not even see it. You will not know it happened. It will not impact on you.
Wow. So when you collectively look at humans, that's pretty tough. They have their phones. Every image pulls them and pulls their energy. Political parties, TV shows, different, spiritual, everything ends up being pulled into these thought structures. So you're just saying, as we raise our vibration, these things will become less and less important to us. What do we say to the person that's addicted to their phone, that's constantly being pulled in on all sides by the mass media and everything around us? How does that person raise their vibration?
Each individual is responsible for their own vibration. As you choose to focus on all these things you are describing, which you do not need to focus on, you could choose not to focus. It is your right, it is your freedom to choose to focus in such a way. As you continue to focus on low vibration concepts, we will not call them realities, they are concepts of your own construct. Mm-hmm. As you choose to focus on your own vibration first, foremost, and always, you will not perceive these concepts anymore. You cannot control their vibration. We understand it's quite tempting for humans to try, but you cannot. You cannot even really know what their vibrations are. You are going based on appearances. You do not know the truth of anyone else's vibration, only yours.
Thank you. A lot of listeners wanted me to ask some questions about relationships. First of all, is it true that we all have a soulmate or twin flame, that one person out there that is meant for us?
No.
Do we have lots of soulmates?
Yes.
Now,
you each have infinite soulmates.
Is everybody a soulmate? On some level, everybody, because there is no separation, as you said in the beginning. Are we all soulmates?
Both sides must agree to it, but yes.
Both sides. Okay. If I want to manifest a specific person, I find somebody really attractive. Oh, wow, they're really an interesting person that I'd like to meet. Is it because that person also they're in charge of their own vibration? Is it better to try to manifest somebody similar to that person? Because I don't want to manipulate them. I want to respect their free will to choose whatever they want. Or is it okay to manifest ways that would get them into a situation where I can have a relationship with that person? I know that there are people that feel guilty. They don't want to manipulate other people in their manifestations. How do you recommend that we maneuver around this reality?
It is impossible for you to manipulate someone else's vibration. to control someone else's destiny. Each of you has total, absolute, 100% control over your own vibration and your own experience as a result. We recommend when you see someone that you are very drawn to, you would like to have relationship with them, focus on the feeling that this desire creates for you. I wish to feel in love. I wish to be challenged by this person's intellect. I love the idea of spending time in these places where this person goes. Focus on the desire. Feel, milk, savor the desire. The desire is what you wish, not the individual person. If that person is truly a match, they will be drawn to you because now you are matching them. But it might not be that person, it might be a different person, but it won't matter because they are matching what you desire. And it will be as if the first person came.
Thank you.
Yes.
That helps a lot. So what do we tell? I get a lot of emails from people all over the world. Some people that are really struggling in very difficult areas. They wake up in utter poverty all around them. They sleep on a floor with a paper for a blanket. And they say, Brian, I want to manifest these things. I want it to create the way that you talk about. But all I see all around me is a lack of abundance, lack. I see strife and all of these things. What's a good recommendation to explain to somebody that's in it where everything they see is the opposite of what they want to manifest? So that they're literally battling all the time with their environment, which their environment is co-creating on some level. So how do we escape those kind of environments that try to co-create with us so that we can move into different manifestations or creations? Does my question make sense?
Yes. They are asking for and doing the same as what you described for yourself. The existing reality around you, your perception of the existing reality around you is very compelling. And as long as you are a match to it, law of attraction will bring you more, more, a constant diet of exactly what it is you do not like. You and everyone else you are discussing must break the hold. Look away. Look away. Look inside to yourself. What I wish to have is clean running water. What I really think I would enjoy is a roof over my head. How would I feel if I had a roof over my head? I'd feel so safe. I'd feel so comfortable. I would feel like life was easy. These feelings, these are a match to a roof over your head. Resistance to the lack of a roof over your head is not a match to a roof over your head. Whether that roof is a mansion or a trip to the moon or a tarp, it does not matter. The process is the same.
Okay, thank you. If that person, say, they've never been, people are born and raised in situations where nobody is teaching them about their own ability to create the reality around them through their vibration. Is there a way that we can spread this message to get to so that everybody can know about their own power? Does that make sense?
Yes, do it yourself.
Okay.
And then serve as a role model.
All right.
You cannot uplift from down below. You must be a match to your altruistic desire to to help others, you must be a match to it before you can teach it to others.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So the universe appears to just be moving towards oneness all across the universe. It appears to be moving towards love. My interpretation, my feeling is that even though there is negative polarity, the amount of love is so much more significantly higher than the amount of negative polarity. It's not a 50-50, is it? The amount of positive love polarity in the whole universe is like 99%.
Yes.
There's maybe a strong field of negative polarity that naturally occurs in the universe, but it's not like a 50-50. Is my interpretation correct?
We agree with you completely. And the amount of the unwanted is diminishing at all times as the universe expands, as the summoning, as the creating of something better continues. The expansion creates the percentage of the positive, of the good, of the wanted getting greater at all times.
And so these negative entities are still a part of the overall plan. They're not. It's a part of how the universe works, but it's diminishing and smaller. It's not necessarily negative.
We suggest you not use the word entities.
Okay, I am sorry.
We would recommend thoughts.
Okay.
All they are is thoughts that still exist.
All right.
When one is in pain, one transmits pain thoughts. When one is in grief, one emits grief thoughts. These thoughts still exist, but to call them entities implies some level of malevolence or danger that does not exist. They are no danger for anyone who is not vibrating on their level. If you are vibrating on that level, you are already creating those thoughts, so they are still not a danger. You. Yes.
And love instantly destroys these polarities. Love is automatically powerful in those situations.
Yes, always.
How do we radiate physically love to dismantle negative energies around us? I know that sounds like a very basic question, but
it is the key to everything.
Yeah.
Love yourself first.
Okay.
Love yourself. Love where you are right now. Love where you are going. Love who you are. Love your past. Love everyone else. Love, 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 love.
There are people that, the listeners that want to ask further questions about what happens when we die, the afterlife. When our soul moves on, do we just move all back to source? Can you tell us your perspective, Oprah?
We like the current and the forever when we answer this question.
Mm-hmm.
Your current, Brian, is here now in the physical plane. Your forever, Brian, is on the non-physical plane. Your current Brian rejoins your forever Brian upon the demise of the physical apparatus. There is no separation, but there also is no loss of the distinctive nature of the current Brian.
Okay. What happens between our incarnations when we move from one life to another? Do we get all of our memories back in that period of time between our incarnations? Or
between and incarnations both imply separate.
Okay.
There is no separation. Forever Brian is already here.
Forever. And there's not separate. Okay.
Forever Brian is already here other than current Brian.
All right.
Current Brian resumes, rejoins Forever Brian along to include the current. There is no separate clump. Current Brian does not go back to Forever Brian and wait a certain amount of time and then come back and be current Brian again with just a different name. There is no separation.
Okay.
There is no just now and then later. It is all now.
Are we moving the universe and conscious species like us? Are we moving to higher densities? Are we shifting into higher densities? Do you understand my question?
Densities.
Just in the dimensions that our bodies exist, it appears we were moving into, right now, this is like a third dimension, density, and we move into different dimensions, and the density of matter is different as we move along. And so I have a misunderstanding of this, but I find the dynamics of the universe very fascinating, and I would love to get someone as yourself some more information about this.
We do not perceive the dimensions as you describe.
Okay.
We see this as a human construct.
All right.
To describe different levels of vibrations. All of these vibrations are available to you right now. Each of you is choosing moment to moment which vibration to match. There is no other place to go to discover a different vibration, whether you call it a dimension or a density. It is all vibration.
All right.
Every vibration is available to you right now.
Is there any cool knowledge that you can bring us about our history or past or something cool that, with your knowledge, that you could share with us that human beings should know about, that we might not know about?
We stay firmly in the present.
Okay.
We recommend you choose this also. This enhances your experience tremendously compared to looking to the past.
Is it possible? Now, I know that your answer is going to be that everything is happening in the now. In a meditation, if I go and visit things that happened in the past, being that past is a thought, can I change my past? Can I time travel to the past and change?
It is not time travel.
Okay.
You are not actually traveling to the past. You are bringing the past to you. And yes, then you can change it at will.
Okay.
Because any past that is problematic for you right now is not in the past. It is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you may change it quite easily.
Okay. Will I see physical changes in my outside environment from those changes in my past?
Do you mean your body?
Well, I mean, anything, I guess, sure. My body, anything like that.
Yes, to the extent that your body is always expressing your past vibration. As you change your vibration in the now, the body will follow. The body may lag. It is not as instantaneous as many other manifestations, but you can absolutely change your body by changing your vibration.
Wow. Oprah, it has been a real pleasure to speak with you. Do you have anything else that you would like to share with the listeners before we go?
You summon, we answer.
Well, thank you for your time. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
I will get a chance to talk with you again. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
We have enjoyed this interaction immensely.
Thank you.
We are complete.
All right.
That was great.
Now, how does it feel after you come back?
It feels great now. At first, it was pretty draining.
Did it ever scare you?
No, never.
Uh-huh.
No. It was just my resistance. As I've been able to let my human resistance go more and more and let just whatever is present to come through, it's just less tiring, but it's never been the least bit emotionally. I've always enjoyed it emotionally, just physically it's not quite as it's not as draining at all now. In fact, it's energizing, I would say now, but that's really just since I opened my eyes and just really in the last several weeks, I guess I would say. So it's fairly new, but I still really enjoy it.
Everybody's I've talked to people that have had that situation where you wake up in a nightmare and you can't move your body, but you were watching it. Some people are worried that if they were to channel that they would be like they're prisoner, like something takes over. It's not like that. You have total control, but it's the allowing and releasing that is allowing you to.
Yes, I choose.
Right.
You choose, right? You choose for you. I choose for me. I choose to receive Oprah. I can change my mind at any second. I've been in the middle of a session where lightning struck somewhere in the valley and I lost my electricity. And so I had to come out of Oprah and, because Oprah doesn't really, care too much about internet and stuff. So I had to become Ramona again, get the internet going again, get them back on the line and then go right back into Oprah again. So for me, it's very fluid. I know Esther or Abraham, somebody over there talks about don't touch Esther because you could pull her out of trance. I've never had anybody try to touch me while I was channeling Oprah. I don't know if it would pull me out or not, but it's not anything that I worry about. It just feels very, very fluid and very easy to me. And the more I do it, the easier it gets. And the more fluid it feels and the more energizing it is. When I first started, people would summon great amounts of love. I would have a client who was feeling very much unloved, and they would summon love from Oprah through me, and it was so powerful. I would cry, I would tremble, I'd have trouble breathing. I mean, it was very intense. But at the same time, I was completely in alignment with that. I allowed that to happen. There was a decision point, especially actually not so much the first time it happened, it kind of took me off guard, but the second, third, and fourth time it happened, I felt it coming, or I would hear from their question. In fact, one time somebody said with their words they summoned that, but they weren't summoning it vibrationally and they didn't get it. So I was prepared for it and it didn't happen. Other times I was oh, here it comes again. But it was nothing to be afraid of. And just to be clear, 5 years ago, I would have been afraid of those feelings just because they're very intense feelings. I personally have no fear of those feelings. If somebody who wants to channel has fear of those feelings, they're probably not going to be very successful channeling because they've got a lot of resistance to that concept. But at no time am I out of control in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And so this has been a very fascinating interview, and I've learned a lot, and I really appreciate your time. And have you ever witnessed somebody channeling that you were that they don't look genuine to me? This doesn't feel like, now that you've channeled and you kind of know how it works, have you seen somebody and said, that, you don't have to say any names, but have you said, that's not really how it works? Have you had that? Or
the only example I know of that seems comparable to what I'm experiencing is Esther Hicks and Abraham.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But I haven't gone looking for a bunch of people.
No, I understand. No, it's just a question. I mean, I could just keep going with these questions because I find it so fascinating.
Well, I'm glad to answer your questions. And I just wanted to say, I really enjoyed this and I really learned a lot from the channeling session. Because you asked a lot of questions that nobody else had asked.
Good. That's what I was trying to get at.
That was lovely. And thank
bigger
you very
questions
much.
And see if maybe we could. But I think it's super fascinating. So it's been a real joy. Ramona Galey, RamonaGaley.com. You can get some interaction with Oprah yourself. And thank you so much for coming on. Welcome to the Reality Revolution. And hope to talk to you again soon.
I've had a lovely time. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.